In this situation, I'm trying to get the insert statement here transformed into this type of layout. This is a writer that we need over in the action. So using Vim, a few yanking registers, and a few different macros, that becomes a really quick automated process. So let's see how to do that. The first thing you're going to see is that the lines right here, which I'm going to yank right now, match the left side value on these expressions. So I'm going to paste all those entries, and then I'm going to record a throwaway macro and register Q, where I'm going to surround this value in quotation marks, get rid of whatever comes after that, and follow it with an arrow. So I'm going to start out QQ, recording. Always jump to the beginning of the line. It's a good step for almost everything you're going to want to do. So insert, quotation mark, and now E to hop to the end of the line. And I got one character to the right, capital C to change everything after this, and finish that off. Quotation mark, add the arrow, and before we end this macro, I'm going to go down the line so it's easy to repeat it. Now that we've done that, I can just sit here and run that macro over and over again. And in a special case, the last one. Now that we've done that, if we look at the right side of the expressions here, we can see that it mostly matches up with all the lines here, with the exception of some extra characters surrounding these lines. So we'll yank that, and we're going to hop over here, paste these lines, and now that we have these, we're going to strip them of the extra characters, but we're also going to try to preserve the commas at the end, which is a little tricky, but I think I've figured out a decent approach. The first part here is pretty easy. Let's start another throwaway Q macro. I just want to hop to the end of the line with the caret and delete two characters. Now here I want to delete the right parentheses, but leave the comma if it is there. So I want to do a find on the right paren and just type X to delete one character, and then go down to the next line. So now that we've done that, we can just repeat that a few times here. And even on the last row here, it preserves the comma status. So that's going to make it a little easier as we move them up to the next section. Now up until this point, we've got away with only using one macro at a time and just moving straight down a group of lines one at a time. And what we're going to do now is a little more complicated, and it requires one setup step where I'm going to come to this line right here and do mark A, so we can jump back to that after we've got our other macros set up. That's just the starting point that we need. Okay, now we're going to start on the first line of the bottom section here. I'm going to start recording into macro N, and I'm going to jump to the beginning of the line, and in register P for paste, I am going to delete from here until the end of the line. Now, having done that, I'm going to delete the line itself and do MV to mark the second position that we're going to want to jump to. Now, before I end this part of the macro, I want to make sure that it leaves me up at the top of the next section, so I'm going to jump to mark A.
I mean, like, you know, I think you can see some differences between Texas. Well, but you're not going to be able to
So now we want to record the last macro of the whole process, and I'm going to start recording that in register S. And I'm going to do capital A to start inserting at the end of the line, give a space, and then paste register P. Once I've done that, I hop down one line and I reset mark A so that the other macro is going to be able to hop back to this point whenever we re-execute it. And before I finish with this macro, I'm going to hop to position B. If I've done this correctly, then I'm going to be able to just call these macros just repeatedly, bouncing back and forth between them, and I'll quickly finish out this conversion. Now let's see what happens. I will start calling macro N. Now I've hopped up here, the line has disappeared. Alright, that looks good so far. And then I'm going to call macro S. Okay, so that looks great. We've got user IDX matched up with user IDX, and it hopped us to the right position. So I think we're all set here. Let's just slalom back and forth and finish them out. Macro in, macro S.
This is what this is more than informative activity, right?
And we're all done. Thanks for watching.